Hey everyone, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction. We're going to check out a video by Beato. You probably already know him. I checked out a few videos of him just on my own, right? Or interviews with artists that he does before I even started this second channel. Uh, but I'm kind of using it, to have some fun, but also learn some things and maybe even improve my knowledge about music so I can even create better music reactions on my first channel. Kind of feeds each other, and this is the basics of music theory explained in 10 minutes. Music theory, I believe, is incredibly complex. So 10 minutes is definitely not enough, but you gotta, start somewhere, get your foot in the door. Maybe I'll learn a little bit extra, and the more I go along, uh, maybe the more I will understand things about music. And yeah, I just love to learn, man. And it's been great to learn about the artists and the songs they make and get a little bit of knowledge that way. But maybe this is like an extra dimension. Uh, I don't know. Let's just check it out. Thank you for being here, everybody.
I've been trying to create the ultimate basics of music theory video that's around 10 minutes long. I think I've done it with this. It may take a few viewings for you to really understand it. Right. Intervals are the building blocks of polyphonic music. Each of the 12 intervals used in Western music have vastly different sound characteristics and must be committed both orally and visually to memory. There are two types of intervals. The first is the melodic interval. So that means one note played after the other, as in a melody. So that would be a major third, or the note C to E. That's a major third interval. If I play the notes simultaneously, that's called a harmonic interval. Think of it as a harmony, so both sounding at the same time. There are 12 intervals.
Less than a minute, I've already learned something. How cool is that? Come on. And by the way, it's weird because I do play a little bit of acoustic guitar, but I just don't know anything about music, right? I know how to read the tabs and stuff and, learn a few finger style arrangements just because off of YouTube but without any musical knowledge whatsoever, right? So this is just like mimicking other people or just memorizing things without truly understanding what I'm doing. It's almost like following a recipe when you're cooking, to the T, but if something goes wrong, you couldn't really improvise or change up a few ingredients or add a little extra salt or, you can't embellish on your own, and that's why I want to learn more as well. This is super interesting.
Within the span of an octave, but many more interval names. I'll show you why. In Western music, intervals are described by two properties. The first being the quality, perfect, major, minor, augmented, or diminished, and the second is the number, unison, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and so on. These names describe not only the difference in semitones between the upper and lower notes, but also how the interval is spelled. The half step, also known as the semitone, is found on the piano between the notes B and C and E and F. The half step is the building block on which all larger intervals are built.
Nice. See, so I knew about this half step and full step and semitone, those terms, what that I've heard them a few times, when I tried to just learn like a piano song off of YouTube as well. And but like he said in the beginning, you have to repeat, watch this video multiple times or other videos, read other texts and stuff. You to really cram it in, right? For me, anyway, it's all about repetition to get it to stick. So here we go. I love.
There are two qualities of intervals: perfect and imperfect. Perfect intervals include the unison, fourth, fifth, and octave. Imperfect includes the seconds, thirds, sixths, and sevenths. Perfect intervals become augmented when enlarged by a half step and become diminished when reduced by a half step. Okay. Imperfect intervals become augmented when enlarged by a half step and become minor when reduced by a half step. Minor intervals become major when enlarged by a half step and become diminished when reduced by a half step. In order to accurately name the interval, you have to first figure out the number of letter names spanned. So if I have the notes C to F, that would be C, D, E, F, or some type of a fourth four-letter name span. If I have C to A, that's C, D, E, F, G, A, or six-letter name spanned. Now we need to figure out whether the interval is major, minor, diminished, or augmented. This is done by figuring out the distance between the notes, meaning the number of half steps, as I stated earlier. If we have C to F, there are 5 half steps, which makes this a perfect fourth interval. In the case of C to A, there are 6 letter names spanned, and there are also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 half steps spanned, and 9 half steps is a major sixth interval. All of this is
Wow, this is actually really well explained, because I have no idea about all of that. And the way he explained that beforehand and now is showing it with examples and figuring out how to do that, it's not sticking yet, but I understand how he got to that. But of course, he can do it so much faster because, just because of experience. Ooh, what a great teacher.
Explained in the first chapter of my Beato book. The next thing you have to understand is what enharmonic intervals are. To the ear, this interval is a minor seventh, or the note B flat to A flat. But if I were to tell you, well, this is actually an augmented sixth, you say, what? Well, that's because this could actually be B flat to G sharp. So if you think about it, B flat, C, D, E, F, G, that's 6 letter names spanned instead of 7. So that would be an augmented sixth instead of a minor seventh. They sound the same, but they're named differently. Another example would be, let's say I have this note G flat and the note C. Well, there are 5 letter names spanned. G, F, E, D, C. Okay, so it's some type of a fifth. Well, that fifth is actually a diminished fifth. A regular fifth would be from C to G, but C to G flat is a diminished fifth. If I were to tell you that it's from F sharp to C, okay, F sharp and G flat are the same note to the ear, but they actually are different theoretically. So there are 4 note name spans, C, D, E, F. So it's actually an augmented fourth. Whether you have G flat to C or C up to F sharp, doesn't matter. There are 6 half steps between them, so you know it's either an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth. All the rest is just theory. To the ear, it's the same. Yeah. These formulas just need to be memorized, and like I said, it's in the first chapter of my Beato book. Let's move on to chord construction next. Chord construction. The stacking of 2 third intervals produces triads. A major triad has a major third on the bottom and a minor third on the top. Between the 2 outer voices is a perfect fifth interval. A minor triad is just the reverse. It has a minor third on the bottom and a major third on top. The augmented triad is 2 major thirds stacked, and the diminished triad is 2 minor thirds stacked. There are also a set of triads where the middle note of the chord is altered in some way. The first of these is a suspended 4 triad. That is a perfect fourth interval with a major second interval on top. Next is the Lydian triad, which has an augmented fourth interval with a minor second on top. We also have the suspended 2 triad, which is a major second interval on the bottom and a perfect fourth interval on top. And lastly, we have the Phrygian triad, which is a minor second on the bottom and an augmented fourth on the top.
Wow. Now that's a term I've never heard of. Wow, Phrygian. Where does that word even come from? Now I'm interested in the etymology of all that. Phrygian. I wonder what the Dutch name for this is. I would need to look that up.
Next, we have the circle of fifths. This chart will help you figure out which notes are sharped or flatted in any given major or minor key. Every major key has a corresponding relative minor key whose tonic is located a minor third below the root of the major key. This is also true in reverse. Every minor key has a relative major key that's located a minor third above. In each case, they both share the same key signature. For example, The key of G and the key of E minor both have one sharp, which is F sharp. Or the key of E flat major and C minor both share the same key signature, which has 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. Sharps appear in key signatures in a specific order: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. Just like sharps, flats appear in a specific order as well. It happens to be the reverse order of the sharps: B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, and F flat. Next, we have ear training. Ear training is one of the most important skills to develop as a musician. Relative pitch, which is identifying an interval based on a reference tone, can be developed to such a high level that it is indistinguishable from perfect pitch. I'm going to start with a reference tone C. Here we go. D, B flat, C, G, A flat, D, B flat, B,
Wow.
F, A flat, C, G, B, F sharp, E, D, C, G, E, A, F sharp, D, E flat, B flat, F, A flat, E, C, E flat. What I'm demonstrating.
Wow, that's amazing. I've tried that long ago when I first started to dabble with the acoustic guitar and try to recognize like some notes by ear. Yeah, man, that is something I would love to be able to do. So maybe that is something I need to explore more. And there's certain musicians right there that are really great. One of the some of the best out there who really are not familiar with music theory and musical notation and stuff, but are so good. They have like an innate musical ear. It's like a musical. They were born with a musical ear. I think like Brian Wilson talked about this in his book. He could just listen to songs on the radio and recreate them, right? And I think like Paul McCartney doesn't read music either, right? And like it makes songs. You make songs by ear, by feeling, by just this sounds great. Of course, when you're long in the business, you're going to learn more and more the longer you go. And when you're involved in production and all of that, by the end of your career, you'll know more than ever. But yeah, that's so interesting. I guess it's the same in other fields. If you have no formal training in acting or cooking, some people can still nail that without really, having the theory behind it to back it up. Just by, I guess, DNA or something, just by talent.
Trading there is just
Interesting
one
stuff,
interval
man.
to the next. So when you see me do my Spotify top 10 countdowns, doesn't matter what the genre of music is, I hear a chord progression or a melody, and I just recognize if it's, let's say, C, A minor, F, G, I hear the bass note moving from C down to A, which is a minor third down. Then I hear a major third down to F. Then I hear a major second up to G. Doesn't matter what key it is. I just recognize those intervals. Then I think to myself, well, the first chord, well, that's a major chord. The second chord's a minor chord. Third and fourth chord are major chords. But they can also be sus4 chords or minor 7 flat 5 chords or dominant 7 flat 9 chords or augmented chords. It doesn't matter, because I've also developed a vocabulary of recognized sounds. Or let's say I have a melody, da, 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 something simple like that. I hear da, da, perfect fifth, then up a step, major second, da, then down a major third, da. So C, G, A, F. It's all the same. Melodies, chords, chord progressions. You can do this yourself by practicing every day. I begin each day by practicing intervals. I work on triads. I work on seventh chords. I work on added note chords. All of these are included in the Beato ear training method. You can check it out through my website at www.rickbeato.com.
I'll have a look at that.
Thanks for watching.
I'll have a look at that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of his videos, and very cool guy and so knowledgeable, right? Oh man, I watched some of his Spotify top 10, videos and other videos too, man. This is so interesting. And the way he just laid that out, even for people, some of the terms really were overwhelming. Some of them I came across, when learning some songs on the guitar, you know, especially the chords and stuff. Uh, but the way he broke it down, I already had a little bit of understanding of how he was doing and how he came to that. Not everybody can teach, man. That's a different skill there, and art form as well. Really nice. Glad I checked this out. Thank you for checking this out with me. Hope to see you in another video. If you have any other recommendations, you know, maybe for learning some fun and educational videos, let me know. Thanks for being here. Peace.